Hey guys, hey, here's a History Hit Extra. Back in Portsmouth, as you know, the house I am standing in front of is the Ebenezer Thompson house. It was built in 1804. Portsmouth has a lot of houses that kind of look like this. It's called Federal style, and it's known for its square proportions, and it gets a little bit less proportional as you rise to the top. But I'm not here to talk about the Federal architecture. I'm here to tell you a little bit about my family's history. Back in the 1950s, my grandmother and my grandfather actually lived on that side because this house was actually a duplex. There was a family living on this side and a family living on this side, and that family happened to be my grandma and my grandfather. Anyway, when my dad and his brother were growing up in this house, they were just little kids. And at one point, my uncle Walter, my dad's brother, decided he wanted to have his own room. And so he was given the room upstairs in the attic, and that became my Uncle Walter's room. But my Uncle Walter never got comfortable in that room because weird things happened to my Uncle Walter in that room. He got the feeling that he was always being watched. He got the feeling that somebody was always with him in his room, and he never could quite get comfortable about being in that room. Anyway, the story goes one day my Uncle Walter actually woke up and demanded that whoever was in his room leave his room. And with that, both the bookcases on either side of his bed fell down on the ground. And of course, it scared my Uncle Walter half to death. And he would never go back up there. And at the time, my family, or my grandfather, had a little dog, a little yellow dog, and that dog would never ever go up to that third floor. He'd sit on the second floor landing, and he'd look up and he'd growl, and he would never go to that third floor. Long story short, one night my grandmother went off to go do something and left my grandfather here watching the boys, and something happened that night. Nobody to this day knows because nobody ever told me what happened, but my grandmother told me that when she got home, my grandfather Charlie was sitting at the dinner table with the lights on. My grandmother said Charlie looked terrible, he was white as a ghost, and my grandfather said, "Babel, we're moving out of this house tomorrow." And darned if they didn't move out of the house tomorrow. What happened? I couldn't tell you. What did he see? Couldn't say. But based on what happened to my Uncle Walter, must have scared him pretty good. He was an old Yankee, not much scared by grandfather. But whatever scared him that night drove him right out of the house the very next day. Hey, thanks for checking in.